Look at teams like the Vikings and the 49ers and the success they've been able to have, regardless of if they've won Super Bowls. They've been switching quarterbacks over the years like more than anybody else, and they're still consistently a 500 or a playoff team. Let's think about the teams that have managed to win Super Bowls in the past, say, decade or so. You've had the dominance of Patrick Mahomes and the dominance of Tom Brady. But other than that, what are the other teams that have managed to find success that don't have the luxury of having the current GOAT quarterback leading the way? Well, for one, you have the Eagles, who did make it back in 2017 with Carson Wentz, but he got injured. He tore his ACL, and they managed to go all the way with Nick Foles to win the Super Bowl. And the reason that they were able to win with Nick Foles was not only because he managed to have, one of the best backup seasons of all time, if not the best backup season, really just a small sample size, but you understand what I'm saying. But it was the roster, right? That defense had playmakers on it, even though it wasn't the best. The pass rush, and then on offense, they had an amazing offensive line, great cast of wide receivers, Jay Ajayi getting in there at running back, and just calling the right plays at the right time. Of course, you need all that stuff too, but the roster was amazing. Obviously, it got them the 1 seed and to the Super Bowl. So Nick Foles, he just had to show up, and he showed up amazingly. And then you got teams like the Rams trading for Matthew Stafford. That's a different way to acquire one. The Eagles had a backup. The Rams went ahead and just traded for one. They got rid of their own guy as well in the same trade, which is extremely ideal because then you don't have to give up quite as much because some of that value you're giving back to them is not in draft pick form. It's in a quarterback that you're not even going to use. So very efficient trade for them. And they managed to win the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford because they got him on a loaded roster that was ready for it. They were to the Super Bowl a few years ago where they lost to Tom Brady because though they had maybe a superior roster, they didn't quite have the experience at coaching or the quarterback to compete with the the IQ and experience of Brady. So getting a guy like Stafford in there got them over the hump, and they managed to win the Super Bowl. And then the Buccaneers, of course, the other team who they did it in sort of a way that's probably not going to apply. I don't think anyone's trading for Patrick Mahomes anytime soon, but they traded for a skilled veteran, obviously the GOAT and Tom Brady, and that drew a lot of attention as well for teams to try to sign with them. Right. So you can trade for these guys. They might already be on your team as a backup. And then you have the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, a second round pick. Not so what's my point here is none of these guys who made it to win Super Bowls recently were first round picks.